I'm going to go ahead and just get a cube and bring that sucker up here. And I kind of want something to live. We're going to make kind of two parts here. There's going to be, we're going to have something here in the center, which is kind of going to be our main housing for our turret. And then we're going to have a few pieces in between here. And that's just kind of fill it up, give it some sort of structure and foundation for our gun to actually live on. So I'm just going to kind of bring this down a little bit. Just kind of eyeball it. I'm going to hit C on the keyboard. I'm just going to go to my point mode. It's here now that we have this editable. And I'm going to right click and go to our knife tool. And I'm going to change this to loop. And that's just going to kind of loop it around our geometry here. I just kind of want to get a little bit of a base going on here. And so I'm going to go to my life selection, grab these guys. I don't want to grab these top vertices. And we're going to just kind of scale those in just a little bit. Maybe bring them in on the side. And once again, my Phong tag, I'm going to change that to 30 so we can get a nice solid edge there. So let's go back to our point mode and let's go back to our knife tool. Click knife. And I'm going to want to change my settings here. Let's go ahead and change that to plane. And let's put cuts. Let's put 6 in there for now. And we're on the wrong plane here. Let's go X and Z. And let's bring our spacing down. Maybe try 3. And maybe even go down to 1. We might even have to go less than that. Let's go 0.1 on that. Ooh, a little too much. 0.5. Maybe back to 1. That's okay. Let's even go higher. I don't think my attributes were registering that. So I want to kind of cut these kind of in the middle here. And you'll see what we're going to be doing here eventually. But I kind of just want to cut here. Just eyeball it. Just maybe right in the center there. We're going to try to create these kind of ventilation shaft things, kind of airflow for our turret. So before we start to dig into that, let's go to our edge tool, hit UL on our keyboard there, and I'm going to want to kind of bevel a few of these edges here. I'm holding down Shift while I click on these to add that to our selection. So once again, right click, let's go to our bevel. I'm just going to eyeball it here. Let's kind of soften some of those edges, like so. And so let's go ahead and go to our polygon mode here, and just kind of see what we have here. I think what we want to do is we want to get kind of some ventilations on each ends here, and then in the middle here. So what we're going to do is kind of select these guys here on both ends. And we're going to want to extrude these inner. So let's right click and let's turn off preserve groups. And that's just so we don't extrude the whole piece as one. We want to have these individual panels here. So let's turn that off and just kind of drag our mouse a little bit. Kind of zoom in a bit here. And, I'm going to actually extrude inwards just so we can give it a little bit of depth. And so I'm also going to extrude inner once again and extrude those out just a little bit. Just enough. So I'm going to go to our side view here so we have an idea. And as you can see, we had both of our ends extruded here. I'm going to go to my point mode, excuse me, and make sure, go to our life selection, and let's make sure that only select visible elements is turned off because we want to kind of select the all sides here. So I'm going to select the top vertices here on our little ventilation shaft things here. Grab these. And let's go ahead and just kind of bring them down just a little bit. Something like just enough to go underneath that extrusion there. And I'm going to go ahead and grab our scale tool and let's scale those inwards just a little bit. So let's see what we have here. So there we go, pretty good start. Nice little shafts. Cool, now our turret can breathe. Okay, so let's go back here. And I'm actually going to call this side housing. Simple enough for now. So back to our polygon mode here, live selection tool. And I'm only going to want to do the outer edge of this, not the inside, because what we're going to do is we're going to actually duplicate this. So I'm going to make sure that this is turned on because I only want to select these guys in front and nothing on the opposite side. So once again, right click, extrude inner, and we have preserve groups turned off. So let's go ahead and drag our mouse, bring that in just a little bit. And what I'm going to do is just kind of bring that in just a little bit. Give it a little bit of depth. Maybe, I don't know, we can kind of play around with it. I don't really want to flatten those sides too much, but I think for the time being, we can kind of bring it in a bit. And we're going to do the same kind of protocol here. Just kind of extrude inward. Just enough. And then extrude inner. And then once again, extrude outwards. Just enough. And we can go to our front view here. And same thing. Let's go to our vertices, point mode here. Make sure this guy is turned off because we definitely want to select all of them all the way through. And just go down the line here. Cool. Kind of bring that in a bit. Bring those down. Something like so. And have them come in so it's kind of overlapping a bit. So there we go. We got kind of a ventilation shaft going on here. Yeah, pretty good start. Okay. So I think maybe we can add a little bit of detail to this guy here. Not so much doing any greeble kind of things, but I think we can kind of play with some of the panels and whatnot here. Oh, and you know what? I did a bad thing. Of course, I want to turn this back on because we don't want to go through those sides to the other side. So I'm actually going to kind of start over here, get our selection going. And then once again, minor little crisis there. Okay, so let's extrude these guys in. And maybe just kind of bring them out a little bit. We're just going to kind of define some of the shape here. Something like that. I think I want to create maybe a little bit of a base as well around here. So I'm going to go hit UL on my keyboard so we can get a loop selection. And I'm going to go to my smooth shift, which is going to kind of help bring out this edge a little bit. Just to kind of establish a little bit of a kind of a base there. So it's a pretty good start here to our little guy. He's looking a little thick, so we can probably afford to kind of grab the whole thing, kind of squeeze it in a little bit, maybe even raise it up. Because like I said, we don't want kind of a little, a tiny little gun coming out of this. You know, we want to have something that's going to be relatively beefy looking. And, you know, once we get to kind of designing the gun barrel and whatnot, we can do that. So I'm just going to kind of scoot this up to the side here. Maybe kind of bring it in a little bit. Scoot it over. Make sure we don't fall off the edge there. Something like that. And grab a symmetry object. I think you know what we're going to be doing with this now. Just kind of drop it in. And then we'll have that on the side there. That looks pretty all right. So we also want to design kind of our main kind of component here that's going to basically be our lead up to our gun, which we're going